Thank you so much for joining me to this session of how to integrate AI in style to your company. I'm Gal, and I'll introduce myself in a little bit. But first, let me give you a quick story of integrating AI in a company. So, me and my colleagues need to do our dailies every day. We have a Monday board, and we write at the beginning of each day the task that we want to do until the end of the day. And when the end of the day comes, we have to report it. Either the task was completed, incompleted, postponed, canceled, and so on. And to be honest, we're not the greatest at reporting on our dailies at the end of the day. So we set up an AI assistant to basically stick it to us if we forgot to update the dailies at the end of the day. And several days ago, I forgot to do my dailies. And that's what the AI has written to me and posted in the public Slack channel of our company. If the negligence of dailies were an Olympic sport, he'd not only clinched the gold, but set a record so unreachable, future generation would think it's a myth. Here's to Gal, may his legend of undone dailies serve as a cautionary tale for what not to inspire to. So yeah, that's one of the consequences of integrating AI into your workflows. Had a good laugh about it. So the agenda for today, I'll introduce myself, and then we'll dive deep into the AI opportunity, the Gen AI opportunity, and hype, the risks that revolve around said opportunities, the framework that I suggest for us as business leaders to incorporate, and some takeaways. So a little bit about me. As you can see from my image, freaking love cats. I'm the co-founder of Brodio. We do AI-powered inbox for businesses. I've been doing for over 6 years business operations, basically helping large and smaller companies become more efficient with processes, integrations, and so on. 2 years of helping integrate AI because everybody saw the opportunity and what it can actually do to our businesses. I was a developer for 3 years. And as you could tell from my previous story, I'm not as consistent with my dailies and as I should be. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about the opportunity. So I borrowed two phrases from the crypto or Wall Street market. There is FOMO, fear of missing out, and FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I spoke with many people over the past 1-2 years. And one of the quotes that really got me at the beginning of this year is that 70% of executives see AI as an integral part of the organization's 2024 strategy. I think that in 2022, 2023, AI was kind of a novelty and people waited to see where it's going. I think it was more for consumers, ChatGPT and Midjourney and cool images on Facebook. But once the opportunities has actually presented themselves, I think that every executive, every business leader, everyone that makes business decisions can't ignore this kind of technology that came into our lives. And I'll explore the opportunities a little bit further with you. So from the academic and feeling standpoint, there's a McKinsey report that says that with generative AI, 30% of hours work today could be automated by 2030. And some people that I spoke with said that this is a baloney and they can easily see 50-60% work hours today being automated. And in this graph, you can see the improvement in percentages. The gray dot is with automations without AI, and the blue dots is automation with AI. We can see in some professionals, even 30%, even more, 40% of hours worked could be improved by AI. And when we speak about the feelings, there's a Deloitte research and that examined the feelings that AI elicit in range of business experts. And I think what we can see from here is the most predominant feelings are pretty positive. I mean, excitement, 62%, fascination, trust, there is uncertainty. I'll get to it later. Surprise, I mean, we can see that you can see in the FUD FOMO meter here that we are trending upwards. People are feeling more confident. People want to get in. Fear of missing out on this AI hyped both from a mathematical perspective and emotional perspective. And this is about the academics and research. Let's speak about the applications of AI. I'm sure that many of you have heard of some of them, but let's go over them quickly. At the present time, we have things like support, content creation, productivity, development enhancement. I think GitHub Copilot, I think most of you guys are pretty technical. So yeah, GitHub Copilot is magic. GitHub themselves report 55% faster work, assignment done quicker. And I think many developers that I speak with today say that they are just 1/10 productivity if they don't have GitHub Copilot turned on. And another example from Autodesk, which was able to reduce them MTTR of support and mean time to recovery by 70% using AI agents, which is just crazy. And think of a large company like Autodesk being able to save this much time of money on assistance and get better reviews from clients. When we speak about the future, it even gets more crazy. I think 2 weeks ago, Devon came out, maybe some of you have heard of it. An automated AI-powered developer can take GitHub issues and resolve them by itself. It has access to IDE and API documentation and even Google search, and can actually, we heard it last year about AutoGPT or Baby AGI or things like that, can actually do series of tasks to complete complex tasks. And also NVIDIA GTC was last week. I'm guessing many of you have heard about all the news for AI in many industries. And one of them that I want to point out was the AI-powered healthcare agent. Could actually replace some of the work that nurses do. So as you can see on the left, the FOMO is, I think, in all-time high. Every business experts and leader want to integrate AI into their organization. But when we speak about application and FOMO, there are unfortunate risks. By Gartner, by 2030, which is a key year in all of these researches, a decision made by AI agents without human oversight will cost $100 billion in losses of asset damage. And now things are getting a little bit more grim, and I'll show you some examples. So here are just a few of the risks that could occur. Maybe some of you heard about the hacker that tricked Chevrolet into selling in his car for $1 instead of 76,000. So the AI agent didn't really sold him the car. It was kind of a support agent, but it kind of promised him, this is a legal binding offer, and I'll sell you this car for $1, something like that. So, of course, it was a funny thread, but let's take it a few years into the future. When this AI agent is connected to payments and supply chain, it could actually deliver them the car for $1. And it could also work now it works in favor of the customer, but if it works on the other way, for example, giving the customer wrong information, it could be very high risk effort. And also the second thing is data. There was a famous incident last year where Samsung, I think, engineers pasted a very sensitive code into ChatGPT, and people were able to reverse engineer it. And by Zapier research, 11% of data pasted into GPT is confidential, and 4% of employees have pasted sensitive data. Could be people's data, could be personal identifiable information, PII, and that could be very risky in a state of privacy and compliance. 3 is an ROI risk. I mean, we all just spill money over this problem, but maybe that won't yield as much ROI as we think. I mean, a study by a Boston Consulting Group and MIT indicated for now that only 11% of companies say that they see a significant ROI on AI. So maybe all this time and effort and resources that we put into AI won't be worth it at the end. And I think the final thing that I'm not going to discuss in this session is the Skynet Terminator, end of the world, AI would take up everything. That's a risk that isn't just a laughing stock. Many experts truly believe that AI could actually destroy humanity. I think for now it's more of a personal take if you fear that or not, but that's another thing to take into account. So now we have this balancing act. Too much FOMO and hype, we'll end up like Chevrolet, or worse, we lose business, we lose trust of our clients. Too much FUD and fear, and we're stuck in place and we lose to competitors. We won't be able to move forward. And we see this technology is amazing and could really impact our businesses for the better. So how can we balance these two out? We spoke about risks, opportunities. Let's talk about a suggested solution. So I'm a bit of a Game of Thrones nerd, and I think that in Game of Thrones there are the 7 gods, the Sept, and And I took the 7 pillars and divided them into 7 things that we need to consider when we go over, when we think about implementing AI in our companies. I'll go over them quickly, and for each of them, I wrote a pro tip, which is opinionated, is my opinion based on my experience and knowledge. Yeah, so let's dive into it. We cover the model. Let's go one by one. So first, I think, is the identify AI opportunities. Let's look where in our organization exactly we can improve AI. We can improve processes with AI. Sales, support, development, heavy machinery, it could be many, many things. And my pro tip in this case would be starting with low risk, simple tasks, repetitive things, things that are, I call it gain small wins, and basically get people used to utilize AI in processes. So I think that's a really important part. We can't just transform our entire 10,000 employees organization from A to Z in 2 months. It's not going to work like that, but we can integrate it into a small department. Now, now, once we identify the opportunity, let's move on in tool selection, buy or build, sorry. So I think this is a question that is not only specific to AI. However, I think, and that's my pro tip, I think that many talented engineers and other professions, they want to prove themselves. They're like, oh my God, there's a new AI tool, the open source that I can just take and tweak and make something amazing for this company. And I think that when we think about buying or building, we have to cut the ego out. I'll say it bluntly, cut it out, leave your ego at the door, everybody's ego at the door, and our decision needs to be based on our needs, our budgets. We need to make very clear budget decision. I'll talk about it in 1 second. And sometimes getting something from a third party could be better than building internal, even though we want to get to write that awesome blog post or Twitter post. Yeah. So from tool selection to the next obvious planning and pillar is cost planning. I think that there are costs for, of course, developing internal or buying, but I think many people tend to overlook the costs of maintenance. When you develop something internally, you'll have to maintain the API endpoints and the platform that you run your code on, and you have to make sure that there aren't any knowledge lost with people switching work. And I think many executives overlook these kind of facts. Also, you might need enhanced features. So maybe a project that you thought would take 2 engineers 2 months is ended up taking 2 departments for half a year. And that's often happened in software. So that's something to be wary on. From cost planning, I think one of the most important things is employee involvement. That's important in every single process that we try to go through. But I think in AI, the sensitivity is higher because people actually feel that it might replace them. And to be super honest, it might just replace some of the employees. And I don't think they'll be jobless. I think they'll find another thing to do with their skill set. But yeah, I think there might be more resistance in some cases to AI from in other cases. But on the other hand, some people use ChatGPT, I heard, secretly without their work allowing them to. So we need to balance these two out as well. My pro tip is to recruit the employees that are maybe not the most technical, but more socially influential for these kind of processes. And also, that's kind of a school trick to take the more employee that we think might be more resistant to these kind of processes and start with them and sit one-on-ones and explain the rationales to them so they'll be able to be less resistant and even be our ambassadors for these processes. Data preparations and monitoring performance. I'll speak on these quickly. I think data preparation, the data that we feed the AI models and technology should be, I think, cleaner and more organized than our ordinary data. And we do it by with JSON schemas, so we cut down the information to the absolute necessary information that we need to feed in order to get good results. And my pro tip is, again, third-party tools, and some of them will do that for you, and that could be awesome. And from there, from data preparation to monitoring performance, and so before and after, and we need to make sure that the performance of both the model, like response time and the accuracy of the answers, and the business outcome. For example, if you write content using AI, we need to make sure that the context actually, that writing content with AI actually makes sense rather than do it on our own. And so again, my pro tip from day one, tweak prompts and treat it agilely. It's not going to be kind of a waterfall project, especially not now when it's super new, that you'll plan ahead for 10 years. No, do something small, tweak, repeat, and so on. And the last thing, which I think is not a topic for this lecture, but another lecture today, and even a whole course in the university, is security, privacy, compliance. Even a whole degree in the university is how this is different from other technologies that we saw. And I'm not going to go into this right now, but I will say that I heard a great sentence: compliance is a journey, not a blockade. Just because something isn't aligned with compliance right now doesn't mean that we can't work around it. We can't, again, start small, not sensitive data, give time to adapt. And I'm sure you heard the AI Act just passed 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I think there's a lot of work to be done in this field, but I don't think that it should deter us completely from the project. I think we should acknowledge the security, privacy, compliance issues, and try to do our best to remain compliant while still pushing business growth. Because as we established, AI could do amazing for business growth and progress. Some takeaways: I think this is a sweet spot for FUD and FOMO, and for the reason that I really think that almost no organization is going to pass on AI in the next several years. And therefore, I think that as the business leaders, we could really use the FOMO to drive up the acceleration of adoption. Use the FOMO to get everybody on board and get everybody, okay, let's do it now. It's hot. It's new. Yeah. So that's what I think. Also, this isn't like a super unique process. We saw it with the cloud, and even before with the internet for companies. Companies are able to do these transitions, especially when so much is on the line from business productivity and gains. However, there are some differences, again, employees and how they perceive the replacements, privacy, security. Also, AI isn't a deterministic. It's kind of a black box. The models, we don't really know what's going on. So same prompt can yield different results in some cases. So we need to really make sure that we tweak accordingly, and we currently, at the state that is right now, don't take too many risks. Another one, don't rush developing things in-house. Again, opinionated, I know, but I think that rushing doing things in-house, some companies don't have the expertise or the manpower, or don't understand really how long and how hard it's going to be. And therefore, you should do your research on third-party or maybe external companies who are expert in these kind of things. Advisors, it could be very helpful for your budget and for your timelines. And at the end, I think the most important thing when you speak about the organizational transformation is employees. AI might replace us all in the future, but right now we need our people. We need the best people to be able to perform at the highest quality. And I think, again, as I said, in the employee involvement, that we should really help our employees get on board with the transitions, understand together with them what can be done, what can't be done, and be respectful and mindful for our colleagues. I think that's it. And thank you so much. And feel free to add me on LinkedIn, stay in touch, send me an email, ask any question you want. I can email you the models or part of it. And thank you for joining to this session of how to integrate AI in style to your company. Enjoy the rest of the event.